it.
But were you along on that famous trip, to make the movie in California where he wanted to take the ham along? Do you remember that?
Exactly right. I was in the car that took the ham.
Tell them about that. That's a good story.
We went out to make our first movie out in Hollywood, California, and Uncle Dave went along with us. Him and Judge Hayes rode the train out, and Doris rode in the car with us. He come to Roy and asked Roy if he would take a ham along out there. He wanted him something to eat when he got out there. He had it in the box. Roy said, sure, I'll put it on the car and we'll take it out there. We had one of them long rode-out cars. We tied it on top of the car. We come to Arizona state line. They made us unload everything we had in the car. And we go through it. They're looking for some kind of a fly or bug or something. I don't know what it was. We had to uncap that box and show them that ham. So they looked at the ham and put it back in, took it out there, California, eat the ham up, got ready to come home, and Uncle said, Roy, boy, would you mind taking this box back home? I'd like to make a hen's nest out of it. We had to carry that box all the way back to California. An empty box, and he wanted to make a hen's nest out of it.
But he must have had a pretty strong personality to get Roy Acuff and you to do that back in those days.
Roy would do anything for Uncle Dave. He thought a lot of him.
What was it Uncle Dave always called Roy? He had a name for him?
Roy Boy.
Roy Boy.
Roy Boy, yeah. He'd always, just before when he'd call Uncle Dave out, he'd say, Roy, do you mind if I play the Wabash Cannonball? He wanted to beat Roy to it, you know. Do you mind if I play the cannonball?
Look, I want to ask Stephen something. He is a person who came to Uncle Dave's music in an interesting route. He's told me this story before, but I'd like for you to tell a little bit about how actually your first mentor was Fleming Brown, a marvelous banjo player from Chicago. And I guess, is that the first way you really found about Uncle Dave's music?
Fleming adored Uncle Dave's music because Uncle Dave was the most versatile banjoist of all. I mean, he played in all kinds of styles. He was and covered all kinds of songs. He was a consummate musician. Fleming, you know, learned so much of his music from listening to old records of Uncle Dave's, and he probably heard him on the Opry too. After all, Uncle Dave sang in the Opry until 3 weeks before he died in 1952, and a lot of the people from the urban revival, the Northerners who took it up, they all loved him. Work in New Lost City Ramblers, they were recreating some of those great performances.
I guess the first reissue of Uncle Dave's records on LP was that one that came out on the Folkways record that Pete Seeger did, the RBF record, wasn't it?
Well, Fleming had the album, I Hear America's...
Yeah, that one that came out on Brunswick.
Yeah, that's 78 with the death of John Henry, and Fleming always used to do that, which had that great introduction that Uncle Dave did. He smacked his banjo and he went, listen, every heart there burns a flame for the love of glory and the dread of shame, but oh, how happy we'd be if we understood there is no safety but in doing good.
He was full of stuff like that. A lot of his records would have a little introduction on them. He would try to make the record like it was a little stage show, I think, or something like that.
Make it personal.
Yeah. He would also dedicate records to people, to his friends. There was a feed store owner down in Murfreesboro that helped pay for his way to Chicago one time, so he dedicated a record to him on the record, and it made him immortal. To this day, nobody in the world would care about Mr. Henry Huddleston of Rutherford County, Tennessee, but Uncle Dave Macon has made him immortal because everybody always hears his dedication on the record and wants to know who Henry Huddleston was. Paul, can I ask you something? Get you to talk a little bit about how you got into Uncle Dave's music first.
Well, I found myself playing a lot of Pete Seeger songs when I first took up the banjo because that was all that was available at the time. This is pre-dueling banjos and the banjo boom. And I ran across an Uncle Dave record, I don't remember which one, and started listening to it very avidly and learned a great deal about it. Teaching myself, I never saw a frailing banjo player until I came here and met Kirk McGee. Saw Grandpa on the Opry. When I came to town in